time to get your bracket set, and I think everyone at this point feels like, you know, they've got a pretty good bracket in place. And the man who has actually blown up Sports Edge with his predictions, round one predictions for the NCAA tournament, Kels Dayton here, and you started Sunday breaking down every game in round number one, continued into Monday. You haven't broken down. How you feeling about your breakdowns?
Well, you know, I'm running on about 1 hour of sleep in those 3 days, but I'm feeling pretty good about them. Did a lot of research, and I think people should check it out.
Yeah, and people are checking it out. There have been a lot of people going to sportsedge.com to look at this. And who needs the national guys? Who needs the guys from ESPN and Fox and all that? We've got Kels Dayton who put theology and bracketology here. Hey, first round, any upsets we should be looking at?
I think the ones that I'm looking at from the teams that I studied was the 6-11 matchups. I think there's a lot of 11 seeds who can beat those 6 seeds. I think those 6 seeds are not as strong maybe this year. I'm looking at Wichita State, who just won in the first 4 last night. I think Gonzaga, I think they were really underseeded as an 11 seed. Not a lot of respect because they lost some games against some big-name teams, but they didn't really have that many opportunities to play those teams during the regular season, so I think they can make a run too.
And these are teams who have had some success in the NCAA tournament, so people definitely shouldn't sleep on them, even though it seems like the NCAA committee did.
Right, and for some reason it used to be where some of the mid-major teams would get the benefit of the doubt the past few years when teams like VCU and George Mason were making runs to the Final Four. And now recently it's gone back to where the power conferences have really taken over with the selection committee, and they've gotten the benefit of the doubt when it comes to those at-large bids like we saw with Monmouth this year not getting in, Syracuse getting in, Michigan getting in. So I think it's gone the other way, and I'd like to see it go back towards the mid-majors because I think they make the tournament more fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement when teams like that make runs at it, and especially when teams like that have a lot of seniors. You see a lot of teams able to make deep runs when they have a group that's been together for 4 years.
Right, and a lot of the major conference teams have a lot of freshmen and sophomores because those are the more talented players nowadays.
Right.
The guys who are seniors that stick around aren't as good sometimes because they would have already left for the NBA draft by then. So that's why I think there's a lot of upsets, and I think again this year there'll be a ton.
All right, so I have Yale beating UConn in my Final Four, and then Yale beating Stony Brook for the national championship. That good picks?
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Solid,
I
right?
would go with that.
Actually, my championship is Oklahoma against Michigan State. I have Michigan State winning that. Michigan State seems to be a popular pick to win it all this year.
Definitely, and I think they have one of the best players in the country in Denzel Valentine. He's kind of like a Draymond Green, if you're familiar with the NBA game. Kind of like that, except maybe not as great defensively, but same type of players they had when he was at Michigan State, and he really leads the charge for them, could win National Player of the Year.
All right, let's look at UConn's bracket specifically. I think that's tough, maybe the toughest bracket out there. Okay, let's say they get by Colorado. They have Kansas probably waiting for them there in the next round. Do you see UConn doing anything this tournament?
I think UConn, of all the teams in this bracket, is the toughest team to predict because even they don't know, I think, game to game, which team is going to show up. I think Jalen Adams really showed up big in the conference tournament, and if he can play like that, I think there's no reason why they can't pull an upset maybe over Kansas. I think they have the type of talent with, you know, Amita Brima and obviously Daniel Hamilton and company. So I think they have the talent that they could in one game upset a team like Kansas, but I think I'm going to go with Kansas here to stay safe because Kansas obviously the #1 overall seed in the tournament. Kind of a tough draw for UConn in the second round.
Yeah, I have Kansas beating UConn as well, but you know I wouldn't be surprised if UConn does what they did a couple years ago and makes a run to the national championship because, as you mentioned, there's talent top to bottom there. My big question is them: are they tough enough? That may be still out there.
Yeah, right. And I think you saw with that 2014 team, I think Napier made such a big difference because he was like a second coach on the floor.
Right.
And that kind of need. I think Adams is still kind of young. He's a freshman, but as you mentioned, when he hit that three-quarter court heave, he waved off Daniel Hamilton.
Right.
He wanted to take the shot. So if he can play like that, have that kind of confidence in these games, I think that's big for them.
All right, and let's look at Yale's bracket. They're in a bracket. Obviously, their first-round opponent is a 5 seed, Baylor, who, you know, I think is a tough matchup for Yale. What do you make of Yale's chances?
Right, I think they're a tough matchup too. I think they're very athletic. They have a guy in Rico Gathers who I'm not sure how Yale's going to guard him. I think Brandon Sherrod is a big dude and he's tough down low, but I think Gathers is just that next level of athlete, and I think they have a bunch of guys like that. But I think the thing that Yale needs to do if they want to win this game is they have to shoot threes well, and I think they have enough guys who can do that. If Makai Mason can get hot, Anthony Dollier, Nick Victor, if those guys can make shots, if Sears can bring the defense out and start hitting some jump shots from the top of the key, I think that's their best chance to win this game.
And those guys have done that late in the year, late in the Ivy League year to win the Ivy League championship. So we'll see if they can catch a little lightning in the bottle in the NCAA tournament. All right, for you, who's your Final Four? Who do you like to win the whole thing?
I like Kansas. I know it's the #1 overall seed, but I kind of have a thing for Kansas. I feel like they have the most talent. And the one thing that I go back to that not a lot of people realize is this team was picked. Kansas was chosen as the Team USA basically for the World University Games this past summer, and they won the gold medal. They beat Germany in the gold medal game. And I think getting the chance to play all summer and kind of getting that chemistry out and getting big game experience too in another huge tournament that a lot of people are watching, that really set them towards this year. And I think they have a ton of talent. And Bill Self, sometimes they come up small in the big situations. They've lost to Northern Iowa, VCU in the tournament, but I think this group has enough to get it done. There's a lot of seniors on this team, and I like them to win it all. I have them beating Oklahoma in the Final Four, and I also have Kentucky. I think they can make a run with the talent that they have, similar to 2014 when they played UConn in the championship game. I think it's the same type of team, and I also have Michigan State. I like the Spartans as well.
Okay, yeah, I think we vary on one thing. I have Maryland and Oklahoma, and Kentucky and Michigan State in the Final Four, and Michigan State winning the whole thing. So I usually don't do well on these things, so what do I know? But you're the guy to listen to. And are you charging if people should win office pools through your work on Sports Edge, or no?
I think, yeah, anybody that wants to make donations, feel free to. We could set up a page for that.
Right. Tweet you at Kels Dayton, tweet you at Sports Edge.
Just follow me on Twitter.
There you go.
We can set it up there.
Well, nice work breaking down all those games, and if you haven't seen it, please check them out because it's well done, and good luck in your NCAA tournament pools this year.